Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Zen Honeycutt, and I'm the founder and director of Moms Across America. And this is our Monday night Moms Connect call. And we're really happy to have people from all across the United States on these calls every Monday night to connect, to learn from each other, to get a latest update on what's going on around GMOs and toxins. And we really appreciate people taking the time to be on these calls. So to get started, I want to say our intention at Moms Across America, our mission is to empower millions to educate themselves about GMOs and related toxins, to offer GMO-free and organic solutions, and by empowering local leadership, we're creating healthy communities together. And I'm very excited to say that I see this happening now more than ever. There's a huge amount of momentum happening. Just came back from the Heirloom Expo and from an organic symposium that I'm going to talk about tonight. And a lot of other new and exciting things are happening. The opposition is also working very hard to oppose what we're doing, and we'll touch upon a few things that are happening there. But before we get into that news, I'd like everybody to go around and just say your name and, just one or two sentences. Don't go into a long story right now, because more towards the end after the news, we'll get more related to each other. But say your name and a little bit about why you're involved in this. Like if you have two kids that got sick or they're getting better now, just say a little bit about that and say where you're from too, please. And that would be great. And if you have a question, if you'd rather say, I have a question tonight that I'd like to talk about, how to get Roundup out of my homeowners association or whichever, whatever that is, please do say that now so that we can make sure to make time for it during our 1 hour call. Okay? Great. Okay. So Megan, since you're on the upper left of our Brady Bunch gallery view, not that the viewers can see this right now in the recording, but Megan, can you go first?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I'm actually an introverted activist, and I work as an architecture and design journalist, and I'm trying to transform building materials and the building products industry to protect our families and our public and our children inside the built environment, because that's where we spend 90% of our time. So I'm just here to give recent information that I have listened to from toxicologists and doctors at last week's Living Product Expo in Pittsburgh. And then also I want to hear other people's experiences with GMOs and GMO-related chemicals exposure, and see.
Great, thank you. So you want a toxin-free home. That's what you're working for.
Yes.
Awesome, excellent. I appreciate that so much. And you're from, you mentioned earlier, Wheeling, Illinois.
I'm in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for being on tonight, Megan. Appreciate it very much. How about you, Ann?
Hi, my name is Ann Temple, and I live north of Milwaukee, and I've been with Moms Across America for 4 years now, and I do all the graphic design, and I have seen us making great strides with our fight, but we still have a long way to go. But it's really nice to see all of you guys here tonight, so thank you.
Thank you, Ann. And Ann just moved in yesterday to a log cabin on a farm. Her dream has come true. And so it's awesome that you're on this call with us because you just moved. You probably don't even have your toilet paper out yet. Maybe you do, but I'm just excited that you're on.
My Wi-Fi got canceled today, so I'm at a neighbor's house because I did not want to miss this call.
Well, thank you for being on, Ann. I appreciate it. All right, how about, let's go in a circle. Tammy, can you introduce yourself? Tammy Thompson, where are you from and why are you involved?
Hi, I'm from Arab, Alabama. Originally kind of California, spent a lot of time there. Wished I was there last week. I was just there for 2.5 months this summer. Mm-hmm. And I discovered you on the GMO program that was on last month, and looking to just get more educated. I have changed my diet, and I'm just moving on the right steps. I actually have an empty nest right now. Husband's out of town, and I don't have anyone to feed but myself, so that makes it really easy to change the diet.
Great. Thank you for being on from Alabama. Thank you, Tammy. Great. And Claire, new mommy Claire.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Let's see. I am a holistic nutritionist. So changing my diet over the past 3 years has completely transformed my life. I now have a 7-week-old, can't believe it's 7 weeks already, but 7-week-old son. When doctor said that wouldn't ever be possible. So I'm passionate about inspiring other moms to change their diets and for the health of their families and the community. I know that when the mom is healthy and has the energy to take care of herself and her family, everything just goes so much better in the household.
Awesome. And your doctor said you could not conceive. Is that what you said there?
Right.
That it would not be possible? And why do you think you conceived beyond all odds? Why do you think that happened?
Just everything within my body. When I cut out, I went almost completely vegetarian, all organic, no GMO. Started exercising, meditating, really just focusing on taking care of myself. And then the body scans and blood work was just incredible to see the difference in those 3 years. I completely reversed my endometriosis. Polycystic ovarian syndrome disappeared. My thyroid condition cleared up. All of that was done by removing the GMOs and toxins from my food and personal care products and all of it. I mean, I completely believe in everything that we do. It can make miracles happen.
That is wonderful. And I might need you to send me a testimonial for my book.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of moms out there struggling with fertility issues, and I don't think I have that covered yet. So I would really appreciate if you could say that, because it's just, people need to hear that. They're really struggling. And what upsets me the most is when people have good intentions and they're trying to make conversation, and so they see a young couple or a couple with 2 boys and they ask, oh, are you going to have a girl? Or they see a young couple that doesn't have kids and they say, when are you going to have kids? And that couple could have had 4 miscarriages and they could be on the verge of tears. Mm-hmm. And the person that's asking it is just trying to be nice and connect, but they have no idea the depth of the sadness and tragedy that they're struggling with, because of infertility. So I would appreciate it if you could send me that. We need a triumph in our book.
Sure.
Okay.
I'd love that.
Thank you, Claire. Just email me, okay?
Okay.
Great. And Angela, I can't see your face. Can you lower the camera down a little bit?
Is that better?
No, we
Raise it up. Raise it up.
Raise it up. Oh, yeah, there we go.
How about now?
Okay, there we go. Okay. Where are you from, Angela?
I'm from Georgia. Well, I'm not from Georgia. I'm actually from North Carolina, but I live in Georgia, just north of Atlanta right now.
Uh-huh.
So, but I'm here because I've been following you for a long time, Zen, and I just thought it just doesn't make sense that I'm not. Whoa, did I lose you guys?
No, we can see you.
Weird. Okay, because my screen went blank or whatever. I've been following moms across America for a long time, and I just thought I needed to stop sitting on the sidelines. I've been very involved with the anti-vaccine movement because I have a vaccine-injured child who I'm recovering, and he's doing really great. But when we started this journey, we took out all the GMO foods. We've been doing organic for a long time, and so to me, this was just a natural progression that I would get involved with your movement. So that is why I'm here, because I can't stop talking about it. I'm like, my husband just came in the room and he said, you're in a cult, which is not true. But, I just see things so clearly now, and I just can't not talk about it, because I want people to know that you can have better health. Your life can change by changing what you put into your body. So I talk about this all the time. I can't shut up about it. So I figure I may as well put my money where my mouth is. So that's why I'm here tonight.
Awesome.
So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Angela. And is there anything that you, in particular, any questions you have, or you just want to connect with people and find out what's going on?
I'd like to connect, but I'd also like to work on the piece about getting GMOs glyphosate out of my community. I live in a very traditional community, and everyone's very protective of their lawns, whereas I don't care. You can have weeds, I'll pull them, they don't bother me. So it would be, I'd like to remove glyphosate from our community, get started on that, know how to get started, I guess I would say.
Great, we'll address that. We address that pretty much on every Monday night call, but we will address it again, and people have different ideas every time. So I appreciate that. Thank you for being.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
Trish, I know I've seen you before. Trish, have I met you in person, or have you been on these calls before?
No, I was on a call about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell everybody where you're from and what has you be involved.
So I'm from Orlando, Florida, and I have 4 children. They are grown now. I have one still at home that's 12, but I have a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old, and an 18-year-old. Mom of 4. And I have also taught babies how to swim for the past 15 years, and I own a swim school. I'm also a holistic life coach and a certified wellness coach, and I own a wellness group. So very involved with nutrition, with children, and I joined this so that I can get educated, so then I can also pass this on to my platform is education for all the children and families that I come in contact with.
Great. Thank you so much for being on and being of service to your community and teaching what you do. I have a friend who's like 9-month-old or maybe 12-month-old can just roll over in the pool. It's just.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what we do.
It's such a relief to the mother that you can teach your baby to just, when they fall in the water, to just paddle and turn over and float and save themselves. It's really amazing. So if you guys don't know about that, it's possible. Check it out.
So I've got a captive audience of moms, of new moms that I need to educate.
And that's when they're making that's when they're making the changes, right? Is when they're like, oh my gosh, everything's up for grabs now. I'll do anything new and differently because I've been affected. And so you're a great resource for the community. And I appreciate that you know about this because now all those people are going to benefit.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Carmel, before we lose you again, it seems like you're coming in and out. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I was in the middle of grabbing dinner, so I had to get off. Hello, I'm Carmel, and I am just here to learn more about what Moms Across America does. I have known Moms Across America for a few years now. I've been working alongside a company and studying the effects of glyphosate and just learning way more than I ever thought I wanted to know, and decided to just get to know Moms Across America better and step into the ring, so to speak. I'm a homeschooling mom. I'm actually living in Mexico right now with my son. We live off-grid. We're totally solar. It's really awesome. We get to go to the grocery store and buy the ugly tomatoes. You know, they actually sell the ugly tomatoes here because they're not sprayed. Actually, we go to the market, not the grocery store, but they're not completely sprayed down with everything. So it's kind of nice to have real food, have access to that. And it's fun to learn about and share how to seek those places out and how to seek out the clean and the healthy rearing for our kids as much as possible. So yes, I'm here as a mom to empower my child and to be empowered by and to empower other Maverick mamas. So thank you.
Yay. Thanks, Carmel. And Mary, I guess she came and went. I know. Oh, there you are. Wait, you got to unmute yourself?
I'm back.
Okay.
I'm taking care of some children right now, so it was unplanned. I'm a clinical nutritionist here in San Diego. My late husband was a Vietnam veteran who had disease from Agent Orange. So now you know I'm really interested in being able to help children, especially, not have to go through a life like that.
Great. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it. I really want to acknowledge the wealth of information that I'm sure that's on this call. I hate to be the only one talking for a little while, but I do want to address some issues that have come up this past week. There's always so much news, right? It can be overwhelming, and I'm sure I will not touch upon all of the news. So if anybody has any other news to add in, please, as I'm speaking, think about it and add that in, jump in. One thing that I want to share with you that is really huge news. Let me share my screen. 1 second. I'm hoping I can share this. Hang on a second. So can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So the big news, this is not for the US, but it does affect us, is that the European Court of Justice is attempting to stop the democratic EU bans on GM crops. So what they determined was that the ban in Italy on GM crops was unjust. And that means also, because it's the EU courts that have decided this, that means all of the bans in Europe are potentially up to be annihilated. And that nowhere in Europe would they be able to ban GMOs. And so this is really, truly disturbing news, and something that we have to keep a close eye on, how the different individual countries like France and Germany and, Switzerland and all that, how they're going to react. And in some ways, this could be a good thing, because this could have people come together stronger, and have Europe come together better, stronger and better and louder, more than ever, to stand up for the rights to protect their farmers. And it's crucial that they do this, because they've come such a long way. I want to show you something else. Let me unscreen share. So anyway, this is the article that came out with this first yesterday. Sustainable Pulse is always sort of ahead of the game. They come out with the news right away. So if you don't follow Sustainable Pulse, I would suggest that you do. They have great news about this. And so right now we're just sort of waiting to find out what they have what's going to happen after this. But if you have friends in Europe, I would highly suggest that you connect them with the moms groups that are what's happening here, and let them see. Let them take a look at the Crohn's and colitis page on Facebook. Let them take a look at the birth defects, the anencephaly, right? The anencephaly angels page. Let them take a look at of all of the allergy pages that are going in it. How many hundreds of thousands of people belong to the Facebook groups, for kids with allergies and with autism. Let them know that this is going to happen there if they let 85 to 90% of their crops be GMO, like we have. We didn't know this. They just snuck it in on us. It wasn't in the media. We had no idea. But Europe somehow got it together, I think because they have smaller countries and they're more connected. They've been doing activism for a lot longer, and their media is not as controlled as ours is. And if you could let them know, it would be of huge service. And there's a letter that I wrote. I'll share this. I think I'll post it later on Facebook as well. Letter to European mothers. When I was there in Switzerland, I did a talk, and then the reporter followed up. And we did a letter to European mothers, letting them know of the health problems that are happening here in America. If you have friends in Europe, now is the time to reach out to them and to let them know how serious our health crisis is here, and how much they need to fight to keep GMOs out of their country. Okay, everybody,
Yeah.
People in Europe. Okay, thank you so much. We have a couple of new ladies that joined us. A. Hawkins, or is it Vaselik? Would you like to introduce yourselves and just say briefly why you're involved?
Hi, I'm Ann. I've been going toxin-free for about 1.5 years now, so came across your group and just really trying to learn as much as I can for my family of 6 and everybody else that I'm trying to pass this information on to.
Great, thank you. Where do you live?
I am in Granger, Indiana, right by South Bend in Notre Dame.
Great, Granger, Indiana. We need more people from the Midwest. And
yes,
great.
Nobody knows about any of this stuff.
Yes, and some of the biggest health issues are out of Iowa and Indiana and Illinois. Like the health is the worst in that part of the country. So I just want to put this out there. Be in your bonnet or mark your calendars that October 3rd we're going to have a regional leaders call. And if anybody is interested that's on this, that's on right now or that's watching this, you can email us at info@momsacrossamerica.org if you don't get an invitation directly from us. People who are already leaders, who have already been very active, are going to be invited. But we want to make sure to open it up to people who are new to us as well and, may want to be a regional leader. And what that will entail, we'll go over on the call completely, but just for a brief FYI, if you're interested, it will just be somebody who's available to talk to people that don't have anybody to reach out to, right? And let's say somebody comes on from Indiana, just found out from Moms Across America, they go on our website and they say, oh, what you'll do is post an event. It could be a year from now, but it'll look like an event, even if you're not really going to have it, you could change it, right? But you're going to get on the map. And then when people see you, and they can reach out to you. First, it'll be by email. And if you choose to follow up with your phone number, then you can do that. So it's somebody that will be able to be available to other people. So October 3rd at 5 o'clock, if you're interested.
Grab my notebook. I'll be right back.
Okay, great. And Angela, if you could either stay in one place or turn your video off when we're recording, but I want you to, is it Hawkins, A. Hawkins?
Yep, that's me. How are you?
Okay, great.
I'm from New Jersey.
Okay, great. If you could either, you're going to be recorded when you introduce yourself. If you could stay in one place or move your thumb away from the camera so it's not distracting. Great, just for a minute. Now, can you move it down so we can see your face?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So go ahead and introduce yourself and say why you're here.
I saw you guys on GMOs Revealed, and I thought you're doing excellent work. My husband and I are gluten, soy, dairy free, pretty as best as possible, GMO and organic free. And I'm disgusted at our government. And, you know, it's hard to not think it's a big conspiracy theory. Between the drug companies, the pharmaceutical companies, the agriculture company, and our government, and it needs to stop. This, along with vaccines, are basically going to eradicate the humans on the planet, you know, and there's a lot of things that can be done to stop it, and I believe hopefully your group is one of those things out there that can help put an end to some of this madness.
Thank you so much. What did you say your first name was again?
Allison.
Allison. Okay, sorry. Okay, great. So thank you for being on, Allison. And I want to address what you just said briefly before I move on to talking a little bit more about the GMO issue. It kind of doesn't matter if they are trying to annihilate the human race or not, or they're just stupid and greedy.
Yep.
Right? Or evil.
Yep.
Like all of their intention doesn't really matter. What matters is what we're going to do about it.
Absolutely.
What matters is the impact on our kids. What matters is every step that we take is one step towards a healthy future that is just and that is free and that does not put corporate profits before the well-being of human beings. And what matters is that what we're doing is right. And I believe that we're going to win. And it may take a little bit more time than it has, you know, than you know, is safe for us. I think a lot of us are being damaged in the meantime.
Right.
But I do believe that in the end, because what we're doing is right and is what works for human beings and for life, is that eventually the people who are in power will either get out of power because we rise up and take power, or they will see that what they're doing is impacting not just them, but their loved ones, and changes will be made. So I don't think it's useful for us to try to get in that soup of, oh, you know, they're out to kill us and these 5 elite families are controlling the world, and down that rabbit hole of, you know, who's controlling us and who's trying to kill us off. And it's just not useful to think of ourselves as victims in that sense. So, you know, maybe happening, may not, who cares? What matters is what you're doing about it right now today, and going down that rabbit hole of who's trying to control us isn't the most effective. You know what's really effective? If you go outside and you bring some flyers to your neighbor and you ask them to stop spraying Roundup and you have a conversation with them. That's what's effective. And that's what will work in our local communities. And that's what we can do right now today, regardless of how much money the Rothschilds or whoever's have, right?
Yep.
That doesn't matter.
And
Well,
that's
I'd
what
like
I've been doing.
I'd like to add on to that and say to not waste any time thinking about how do they sleep at night and why won't they do the right thing, because I believe that the people that are doing this are sociopaths and they lack the empathy. So don't worry about how they can do this. Just worry about how we're going to fix it, like Zen said.
Great.
Absolutely. And I see a lot of it. I'm in healthcare, and I see a lot of, you know, a huge rise in every type of illness that you can think of, from diabetes in children that have type 2 diabetes, not juvenile onset, to Alzheimer's, to cancers. And, you know, it seems to grow every year.
Yes. Yeah. And it is growing, and we're here to do something about it. And every single one of you that teaches somebody about this or shares information beyond your normal circles. So going on Facebook and posting about this is not good enough anymore. We have to go beyond that. There are plenty of people who still don't know what GMOs are. And if you go outside of your circles and you start passing out flyers to other areas or having conversations, you're going to meet them. Right. And you're going to make a difference with not only that person, but the, 1,000 people that they have in their circles. So it's really time to think, going beyond our normal circles. Okay. And then did you introduce yourself? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting right now. Veselik, I think you did, right? Anne, right? It was Anne, right? Okay. Okay, great. So before they jumped on, I was talking about Europe, and yeah, and I want to just show you a picture. I showed this last time, but I want to show it again. So I met some GMO activists, or a GMO activist at the Heirloom Expo, and he showed us this whole package that they have about how they've gone and they tore up GMO corn and GMO soy and stuff in the night, sometimes in the day. They never went with weapons. They never used fire. They just tore it up or stamped on it to eradicate the crop. Here's the GMO crops in 2000. You can see those little dots, all the different types of crops. They had corn, wine, they had grapes, they had GMO grapes. They had, I don't know, I can't read, they had potatoes. They had tomatoes. I can't read all of these, but so you can see they had GMO, a lot of different crops here in 2000. And then once they started working together, and they were funded by the people of France, and they had lawyers, they had people to bail them out of jail. They started to decrease in 2005. And then 2010, they only had 2 left, and they got rid of them. Those were, I forgot which ones those were, he said. But they only had 2 left, and they got rid of them. Now, unfortunately, they do have some GMO sunflowers. So folks who are using sunflower butter instead of peanut butter because your kids are allergic, you have to know it has to be organic, because sunflowers have been genetically engineered to resist pesticides in some areas. I don't know about in the US, but in France they have. So they spray pesticides on them. And according to him, I haven't had that verified by a scientist locally. They could just be spraying the sunflowers as a desiccant, right? With glyphosate as a drying agent, which I also know that they do. So sunflowers and some canola they have there. But they've come a long way, and they fought very hard for this. So I think that this is going to be, the EU striking down a ban in Italy of GMO crops. I think this is going to be a moment when Europe rises up and says, no, corporations are not going to control our people and contaminate our crops and destroy, traditional, 100-year-old vines and things like that. I don't think this is going to happen. So, but just please do keep in contact with your friends in Europe. Okay. So next is, I'd like to talk about something that actually Carmel touched upon, which was the ugly tomatoes. So I went to this fabulous, this symposium. It was called the CCOF Pacific Southwest Organic Symposium yesterday in San Diego. And it was great because it was a bunch of organic farmers with the buyers. So Whole Foods was there, and restaurants were there, retailers were there, and they had a panel where they got to talk about, hey, we want to buy this, we need you to grow that, although some of them wouldn't say. And there was a discussion back and forth about how the farmers were like, we need you to pay us a fair amount, basically, and the buyers were like, well, we need to be able to sell the product, otherwise it's going to rot. It can't cost too much. So whoever's doing dishes could turn off your sound. Okay, thanks. So it was a really interesting discussion that I've never seen before between buyers and farmers. And of course I had to stand up as a consumer and say, everybody, I just want you to know that what we're messaging and what we're telling people and what we're educating people, we reach over 1.5 million people a month just on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Isn't that great, guys?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Great? Yes. So we are reaching, over 1 million people a month, and that's not including webinars or radio or TV or articles or, other types of media. And what we're saying is that organic is cheaper than doctor's bills, and that our kids get better when they eat organic. And that is priceless. I mean, my husband lost his job a while ago, and I told him, I don't care if we have to live in a trailer. If we're going to live in our RV, we're still buying organic. We're not going to compromise. And I didn't even have to have that discussion with him. I just said it to be clear, right? Like, he knows. So, you know, this is where it's at now. Our kids need to eat organic in order to protect their health. And I wanted the buyers and the farmers to know that, you know, that we will pay. Of course, we don't want it to be extraordinarily expensive, but there is a market for it, and they need to get it together and to do that. So one of the things they said was, well, one way you can help the organic farmers, you know, and for them not to lose money because, you know, things do spoil faster if it's organic, is to buy the ugly fruits. Look for the ones, if there's a bunch of oranges, don't buy the ones that are perfect. Buy the ones with a little bit of green on it. Like, buy the grapefruits with the scars on it. Buy the tomatoes with the little patchy part on it. Buy the ugly ones so that the retailers don't have a lot of waste to throw out. And then so what they do is they factor that in, right, to what they paid for it. And then they argue with the farmers, well, we're going to have to pay you less next time because we didn't sell as much of your produce before. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're helping a farmer out by buying the ugly fruits. That really makes a difference. The other thing they ask is that the local farmers, these are all local farmers, by the way, are upset with the big retailers for providing things like blueberries in January or melons in February. And they're getting them from obviously like Brazil or, you know, Argentina, places like that, because we consumers want them and because we buy them. And so somebody from Whole Foods says, listen, you know, we're going to keep buying fruit and vegetables from Brazil as long as they sell. So as long as we consumers buy them, they're going to keep selling them, right? That's the way it works. And it's like terrible trash TV. As long as people still keep watching it, the networks are going to still keep putting it out. So if you have an opportunity to educate people, do please educate people to buy in season, and not to ask for strawberries, you know, in I don't know, February or whatever, if they're not in season. And as much as possible, support seasonal. And if you're posting recipes to people, you know, out on Facebook with pictures, like, look, post figs are in season. Look at this awesome recipe. You know, put in season, not just local and organic, but put in season. And people will start to think about, oh, now's a great time to stock up on blueberries and freeze them and make, you know, jam or whatever out of them because it's in season. And then later on in February, we're going to just pull out that blueberry jam. We're not going to go to the store and buy the blueberries that are on the counter that came from Brazil, that, by the way, were probably gassed with pesticides in the cargo hold. Yeah, They say organic, but they could have been, that's what I'm hearing, you know, gassed for pesticides in the cargo hold. So you want to be aware of that. And then that way you're not diluting the market as well, and local farmers aren't getting pushed out, right, with their products that they're selling, or sort of influenced to sell them at a lower rate later on when they are in season, because off season they were at this price. Now on season, you know what I mean? They have to keep up with that. So great. Yeah. Carmel's saying, yeah, buy the ugly tomatoes and make your sauce with it, right? Yes. Very good idea. Okay, and so then one other thing, well, of course they mentioned, yeah, local, seasonal, ugly fruits, and there was a lot more. Let me see, what else did we talk about? Well, I got to acknowledge Phil LaRocca, who is a organic, yes, it was great. We had gave him an award for being the first organic apple farmer and for growing grapes organically, and he tested his wine for glyphosate and it came back non-detectable. So we're very happy about that. And he's also the president of CCOF and he's on many boards. So he's been fighting passionately for organic food for a long time now. And we owe much to him as far as working out organic standards and all of that. And what they're working on right now, and if you want to become a CCOF member, it helps to support them, is they're trying to get an organic certification for marijuana and hemp crops. Which is really important because there are many growers right now, because it has become legal in several states. They're just growing it willy-nilly and they're spraying it with pesticides, and it is not, they said they tested some batches, I don't remember from which states, the 70% of them had pesticides on them. And so an organic certification of marijuana and hemp crops is very important for them to have. I can't believe that they don't have one already. So do ask if you're buying, CBD oil or any kind of hemp salves or CBD salves or anything like that for healing reasons for your children, which I know a lot of people use for kids with autism and different issues. That please do ask if it's been tested for pesticides. It won't be able to be certified organic. They don't have it. But you can ask if they've tested for pesticides. And just FYI, the one that we have right here that we sell on our website, by Quicksilver Scientific, it's Colorado hemp oil. Every batch is tested for pesticides, and it has been detected, has not been detectable for glyphosate. So we feel confident that they're on top of it with this product. And it's also nano-emulsified, meaning that it's very effective. The particles are very tiny. And so it goes in and is absorbed more easily and supports cell repair much more easily. So we highly suggest that. And your purchases help us get things like more flyers and all of that. So let me see what else. I think that's it for now about the organic symposium, but just do get involved and join the groups like the different organic farmers groups and organic certification groups, and speak up like your farm bureaus. If you have a local farm bureau, you can join it just as a supporter. And then when they have things that come up to vote, you can vote, for us, rather than having the big farmers and the big ag people there voting to protect their profits. So just something you might want to do in your spare time is join some, farmer groups, even if you're not a farmer. So let me get, yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
Do you have any talking points that you would want us to use? Because I know you've been doing this for a long time, and so this just comes so easily for you. But for those of us that are kind of venturing out, I've been talking about this kind of thing, but I get the opposition. I'm in the South, and so I have family members that are like, we don't have the kind of income that you have, and we can't afford to buy organic, and we can't, and I get this whole laundry list of reasons why. And then I'm like, but you guys, you're all on medications and I'm not. And I'm at the age where I should be. And so, I'm not saying that to be, elitist or anything like that, but I'm speaking from experience. One thing that I didn't say at the outset is I work in the pharmaceutical industry. And so, unfortunately for me, I'm sort of the unicorn in all the meetings because I don't buy into what they're selling, but it's my profession, and I do it because I have to right now at this point in time. But I really have a hard time trying to get my friends and family to understand the importance of deciding to purchase non-GMO organic products. And I tell them all the time, I'm not saying your whole shopping cart has to be organic, but if you get one or two items that are organic or non-GMO, you're making a difference. You are really making a difference, an impact on your health, just society in general. It makes it so that these companies understand that we're not willing to accept the garbage food any longer. We want products that are safe for us to ingest, and that's the stand that you're taking. And the cost will come down if more of us start making those purchases. But I just get such opposition. It's crazy. I don't understand why people don't understand this, I guess is what I'm saying.
So yes, I get it. And a lot of people don't understand this. And what I'd like to come from is people disagree with me simply because they don't know what I know. Right. It's not because they're trying to be rude. It's not because they're evil. It's not because they're being pushy or whatever. They just don't know what I know yet. So I need to be a person that is, somebody they can trust. So being nasty about it or pushy is not going to help the situation.
Right.
So I wrote in my upcoming book, which you can pre-order on zenhoneycut.com. I'm going to put this out there because there's a free download for how to talk to your family and friends about GMOs and toxins. And you get a free download when you buy my book in advance. And that advance purchase helps me to get it edited and to hopefully get it translated into Spanish and Japanese and Chinese, because I know that they could really use this book, and I think those would be the primary languages that we want to get it translated into. And one of the things I'll give you right now out of, because we're on this conversation, you're taking the time, is feel, felt, found. And that means you say, I know how you feel when they say, oh, I can't do it, it costs too much money, or, you know, whatever, right? I felt the same way. Like when I saw, but you know what I found? I found that when we eliminated, for instance, say, soda, which is, you know, really bad for you anyway. When we eliminated soda, I was able to buy organic bread, right? Because at first, you know, when I felt the same way. Okay, so I know how you feel. I felt the same way when I saw the price of organic bread, that it was twice as much. I almost flipped, right? I thought, no way, this is ridiculous. But what I found was that when I eliminated soda, right, that extra cost, when I could put that into the organic bread, it was fine. And the organic bread was awesome. My kids love it. And I don't even miss the soda anymore because, you know, we use stevia and lemonade, or, you know, something like that. So, yeah, you give them one example and then you zip it. Don't give them tons of examples because you will overwhelm them. They won't want to hear it. Right. Okay. And then as far, so that's just for GMOs. That's one thing. You can show movies, you can, you know, books, there's other things you can do, but only do one at a time and wait for them to ask you for more information. If you are talking at them, they're not going to hear. If they ask you a question, they will hear what you have to say. So, yeah, so thank you. Welcome, Antonio. I don't know if he can hear us. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with one other thing somebody mentioned about getting glyphosate out of your, you know, and Roundup out of your community.
Yes.
And Antonio, if you can hear me, we'd just like to know what city and state you're from. And if you can put that in the chat box down in the bottom, that would be great. And introduce yourself in a minute, okay? If you can't hear me, then just give us a wave or put something in the chat box. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing is the talking points for how to get Roundup, like a neighbor to stop using Roundup, or how to get Roundup out of your city or your state, okay? It's a lot of this is on momsacrossamerica.org under Action and National Toxin Free Town. I have a little video there where I've talked about some issues, and we have a data sheet that you can download. If you start an event, like say you want to have a coffee night or a play date, you get a whole big free box of 1,000 pieces of our materials if you just pay for shipping. And what you get in that is, one of them is this flyer, which shows Roundup alternatives, and it shows all the reasons why somebody should not use Roundup, and you can put this little flyer under somebody's doormat. And we also have a big community flyer, which I don't have right now, but it has all the data that you can give to your city councilman, your homeowners association, your school board, and it has pretty pictures and has lots of information about why glyphosate is harmful. And you can get that flyer as well in our event box. So if you are going to have an event, you get that free box of materials, and we'll talk more about that later. But the talking points, just to give some of them to you now, are, so what they're gonna say is that it's safe, right? That the EPA says it's safe, and they're using it as regulated. That as long as you use it as regulated, that it's safe for use. So here is the argument that blows that completely out of the water. The fact is that the EPA only requires safety studies, long-term animal studies that show with blood analysis on one declared active chemical ingredient in the product. They do not require safety studies, long-term safety studies with blood analysis on the final formulation. And they have admitted to me eye to eye that they don't have these. They have no long-term animal studies on the final formulation of any of the formulations of Roundup. So not the EPA, not the landscaper, not the homeowners association guy, not the farmer, not the manufacturers. They cannot claim that Roundup is safe with any scientific basis. It's just unfounded. So a lot of people don't know that. They think that product, like sitting on the shelf, whatever, if this was a shampoo sitting on the shelf, or an herbicide or a pesticide, that's been proven safe. Well, no, only one ingredient in it has been tested, and many of those tests come from the manufacturers that stand to benefit from it. So their policy is completely warped. The other thing is that number two, Roundup has been scientifically proven to be an endocrine disruptor. And what that means is that very tiny levels have been shown to cause harm or to halt the development of a fetus. So when they say that the levels, oh, it's 1 teaspoon that we're spraying over the entire, park or whatever, right? It's a very small amount. Well, in fact, that small amount can be more harmful to a pregnant mother than a large amount, because that tiny amount can get into the cells and mimic estrogen and disrupt the entire fetus. So the level is that being an endocrine disruptor blows the whole argument of dose makes the poison. In addition, the endocrine disrupting effect is, what's the other one? In addition, it bioaccumulates. So a very tiny amount, and then it bioaccumulates. So you can't tell me that that's safe because it bioaccumulates. It's been scientifically proven to bioaccumulate, okay? Meaning it grows, it adds up in our bodies and in our exposure. Third, it's just been proven to cause liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Roundup, not just glyphosate, but Roundup has been proven to cause non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And 1 out of 10 of Americans now have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This is an epidemic. Most people, you just go to the Liver Foundation. It says it right there, the Liver Disease Foundation, 1 out of 10 Americans. It is a huge problem right now. 8-year-olds are getting cirrhosis, fatty liver disease. It's ridiculous. Number 4, it's shown to be a carcinogen. It's on the Prop 65 California list. That is a big thing for us. Any landscaper in California that's using this could now sue their employer for making them use Roundup. And many people have. Many people have sued Monsanto. Over 1,000 people, in fact, have sued. So if your city says, well, if used as directed, this is safe, you could say, well, I don't think that the 1,000 people who have sued Monsanto would say that it's safe. Their loved ones have died of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And actually, another scientific study has proven that non-Hodgkin's lymphoma increased by 50% when the farm workers or landscapers were using Roundup. So you want to make sure to alert them to the fact that all it takes is one lawsuit and our city coffers could be emptied. One lawsuit for 20 million or 50 million could really impact a city. So it would kind of behoove us to be ahead of the ball, be ahead of the game here and stop using a product that has been shown to cause harm and to use an alternative instead. And they're all alternatives, and I'll get into that in a second. The fifth reason is that it's been proven to be a neurotoxin. And that means drifting in the air, sprayed on the grass, or kids playing in the playground or the school parks or the sports fields. There have been reports of kids that just suddenly, while they're, running or whatever, like just collapse, faint. They've got neurotoxic damage, and nobody can say what that's from, but there's a very strange, spraying that has happened that day around the area, and, they can't connect it, but that has happened. So we want to make sure that they know that they cannot spray this stuff around our kids in our parks and all that. It's a neurotoxin, and the IQ rate has dropped like 6 or 7 points in the past 20 years. That means millions of kids that might be gifted and talented are no longer gifted and talented. We're literally dumbing America with these toxic chemicals. So then they're going to ask about alternatives, okay? And the number one alternative is vinegar with soap. And it can be boiling water, but it doesn't have to be. And it's very inexpensive. It totally works. You apply it just about as many times as Roundup, maybe one more additional time. But it's so cheap, who cares, right? And it's just a tiny bit more labor. So that really works. The other one is free mulch. If you think about it, the number one landfill is green waste, right? Is bushes and shrubs and clipping off of trees. Every city has so much of those extra branches that they don't know what to do with. All they need to do is use a wood chipper and start mulching, those places in between the roadways or around the parks or around the fences. All they need is a big pile of mulch around a fence, along the side of a playground area, and they don't need to spray chemicals there. And because I know they don't want to weed whack because they'll hit the fence, right? So that's all they need to do is mulch, and that's free, and they don't have to charge, they don't have anything extra there except for the labor to put it down, and they only have to put it down probably twice a year. So that's a great way to go. And some people call that like permaculture or, organic, it's just the way of organic landscaping. It's just, there's different methods to do that. Other things would be, cover cropping, things like that. Then there's also a great company, let's see if I have his flyer. Yes, called Weed Technics, and this is on our website, and they use steam. So you can see here, they're at a farm, they're along a waterway, here they are along a street. It looks like a giant vacuum, and it sprays very high pressure steam, and it's completely safe and non-toxic. And when they kill the weeds on the top, and I've seen them, the grass just gets brown and dies within, I guess it's like a day or so. That then the microbes come in to eat that dead vegetation, and the soil becomes more rich and healthier within 2 weeks. So instead of spraying toxic chemicals that will just destroy the microbes in the soil and make the soil less fertile and healthy, then and by the way, create an overgrowth of fungus and bad bacteria, which will then perpetuate more weeds and more disease. This way, you're putting in just water, which is helpful to the soil, and you're killing the plant, and then the soil microbes come in and eat it, and the soil becomes healthier. So this weed steam control solution is fabulous. It's being used at the San Francisco airport. It's being used in the University of Colorado. It's been used in Australia for 14 years. And we absolutely should have this in every single city in America, I think, and stop using these toxic chemicals altogether. Now, if somebody wants, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, is that something that you could use in your own yard if you wanted to? Is that technology?
No, not really, because it's like a big honking machine, and so we have a smaller one that they're starting to use where they attach a hose to a backpack. So landscapers that are working on your backyard, and they're going to use this on 1,000 backyards in a period of 2 weeks, then they can use that like for your landscapers. So suggest it to your landscapers if you have one.
I will tell him. Yeah. He's always asking me, can I put down chemicals? And I'm like, no, you cannot put any chemicals in my yard. Don't.
Yeah.
So, but now to know, no, Siri, every time he comes, he'll ask, are you ready for me to put chemicals? No, don't put any chemicals. I'm fine with the weeds. They're fine.
Yeah. We've all been there, right?
Yes.
I had that conversation with my husband this week.
Yeah. So, and if they do need chemicals, so there's a brand called Burnout or Burn Down, and then there's this one called Avenger that is sold at Home Depot. It's more expensive, but it's citrus based, so it's safe. So there are alternatives as far as if they really feel like they must use something to spray. And then pulling weeds is really not that hard either. And there's things called Boy Scouts. Boy Scouts need community service, and our Boy Scout troop just, one of their community service was to pull the weed around the school. So the weeds got pulled up around the school, and then the Boy Scouts put mulch in, and it looks much nicer, and there's no need to spray toxic chemicals. So
not to mention certain weeds are superfoods.
Yeah,
dandelion, like dandelion and purslane.
Yep.
Superfoods.
Very useful. Okay, so it's 6:00. Was there and it's usually this is time when we close off. Was there any other questions though before we go?
Corey had her hand up before, so I don't know if she still wanted to say something.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hi, it's Corey.
Hi, Corey.
Hi, thank you so much. I just want to introduce myself. I'm brand new to Moms Across America. I live in Stockbridge, Massachusetts.
Great. Thank you. Stockbridge, Massachusetts. Okay, great. And has everybody signed up for our newsletter? Is that right? You're on? Okay. And great. And so keep opening those up, because we do, calls to actions or alerts and articles that you can share from our website.
I just got so inspired that I just created an event. Yay! And I was on the fence about it because well, it's very long, and I understand that we're done now. It's actually 9:00 my time, but I just wanted to say that, and I will be in touch with you for some information. I created an event. I'm actually going to be getting together with another woman on Thursday next week, and we will be discussing a little bit more about what we are going to do. There's a fall festival coming up, and I want to have a Moms Across America booth there.
Yay!
Yay! I know, I'm so excited. So thank you for the inspiration. And I will be on Monday for the next call, and I will make it so that you can see my face.
Great.
And we can then, you know, hopefully then I can share a little bit more. But I'm just so grateful for you, for all you moms. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Corey. I appreciate it. And thank you for posting an event. Before we close off, I do want to say that if you want to connect with other moms like Corey's doing and support other people in your community that are finding out about this, or if you feel like I just don't know enough people in my community to work on this together, then post an event on our website under host. It can be a coffee club. It could be a parade in July. It doesn't have to be for something, you know, like a week from away. In fact, the longer that it's up there, the better it is because people can find you. And all you do is you put your name in. You can put a last initial. You don't have to have your last name. And put your email in. You don't have to put your phone number in. But when people see that there's an event in their local area, they're going to be like, oh, thank God, there's somebody else that knows about this. And they'll contact you, and you guys will chat and connect. And you'll be like, okay, let's get together at the, you know, organic juice bar down the street. Let's support the organic juice bars, okay? Or
yes. Can I just, sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can I quickly ask you, remember what you said about some literature that you would send? Where do I find that? You know, I'm having a trouble navigating the website.
Well, you probably already got an email. If you posted an event already,
fine.
Look in your email box. It might have gone to spam if it's the first time that we got an email to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
You get a code to order a free box of materials. And so
Yay!
you put that code in, and you'll get 1,000 or something flyers so that you can hand them out. Now, here's the thing, 1,000 sounds intimidating, but it's really not. When you pass somebody a package of 100 flyers, all they have to do is drop that off at the library or at their chiropractor or a senior center. You want to make all the people that come to your events be your army. I hate to use the word army, but like be the branches that get it out. So ask them, hey, don't let them take 2 or 3 flyers. No. Say, can you drop this off at your library, right? Give them a whole stack of it so that you get those 1,000 flyers out to 10 people. You give them 100 each. That's it. Your job is done as far as.
Then why don't you talk about the $1 billion shift that we did?
Oh, okay, yeah. So, just one more minute. So, at the Heirloom Expo, somebody's got water going on. Just turn your.
Sorry, it was me.
Okay, so at the Heirloom Expo, we did the math and we figured out that with 56 people passing out 100 flyers, that if each one of those flyers convinced the person who got it, if they convinced only 10 people to go to organic, right? Sister-in-law, brother-in-law, a couple of their friends, if only 10 people went organic from each flyer that was passed out, and each one of them spent $100 a week on organic food, then in each state, if only 56 people did that in that one state, that would be a $1.3 billion shift to organic. It's huge. Yeah. So we can cause a $50 billion shift to organic. We can double. So that's what's been sold already is $50 billion in organic. We can double that this year if we have people get these flyers out, talk to their friends and family, and say, listen, and be really intentional about, I want to have in my brain that I want to know that I got 10 people to shift to organic. And you can absolutely do that. You just ask your friend or your sister or your mom, are you guys buying more organic? Has mine been posting? Am I pestering you? Has that made a difference? Yeah, we're buying more organic, So just keep in your brain how many people that you're getting to switch to organic. And together we can cause a massive shift. We can make GMOs obsolete, toxic chemicals obsolete. We can make the way to go for everybody, whether they can afford it or not. Right?
I know in my area that the produce section, the organics is getting larger and larger, and I will walk up to the produce person and say, do you guys have this in organic? And they'll say, no, we don't. And I'll say, well, it would be great if you could start supplying it as organic because I'm not going to buy the other type. And that's that simple.
Yeah, you tell them, I'm not going to buy that other kind, so don't bother stocking it, right? And you tell them, and I asked the retailers at this meeting that was yesterday, how many moms does it take for you to actually shift your purchasing? Nobody wanted to say. They didn't really answer. One lady said, it doesn't matter how many, just do it, just ask. You know what I mean? Because I guess for everybody it's different. But I guarantee you, if 10 moms go into a restaurant and say, listen, I can't eat here because you don't have any organic meals, they're going to start thinking about it. My feeling is it takes only, I would say 10 people, especially at a restaurant. At a grocery store or a market, might take a few more. But if they get those little notes at the cash counter saying, listen, you don't have any organic cheese, that really bugs me. there's not enough organic cheese out there. So, can you please have, stock organic cheese? They will think about it and they will start stocking it. And then all the local organic farmers will they're going to start to thrive. They're going to be so grateful. Yeah. So, okay. Did you just share something? What's this, Anne?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Okay. So somebody screen shared. Okay. Oh, Mary's screen. We're viewing Mary's screen. Okay. Well, we see your email from Kim Stevens. Thanks, Mary.
I'll throw one thing out there quick, where I've been learning about the same things you guys are talking about from my local church. I just joined this creation care team, and it is a national organization through I don't know if it's just Christian or Catholic church, but I mean, they work with the Pope and everything and all like the greenhouse gases and all that. So they're really active with our local government. So I'm learning a lot from them as well. So you might be able to check your local churches too to see if there's already a group that's working on these kind of environmental things as well.
Great point. Yes, I know the Unitarian Universalist Church, for instance, has a sustainable or a green group, and you can get together and they show movies. That's a great place to show Communities Rising, by the way. We have a movie called Communities Rising on YouTube, and we're trying to get that out to churches. That's a great way. They could use even as a fundraiser, to donate money to a local food bank. We would just ask that they donate back 50% to Moms Across America and 50% for the church would be awesome. And, but yeah, if you want to show Communities Rising, that would be a great event at a local church in the green or the sustainable, group. That'd be awesome. And let us know if you do that, please, because we want to make a big deal out of it.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I don't want to take any more of your time. Oh, wait, one more. Okay. Yes, Tim.
I have a question. Yeah, how can we trust the labels, and can we trust Whole Foods 365? And we have Aldi's here. Aldi's is a great store, but can we trust that? I read that their milk is number 10 on the list.
So here's the thing. Saying that I'm not going to buy organic, I can't trust it because it's not completely organic, can just be kind of a cop-out for taking on the responsibility of spending a little bit more for organic. It's also a fear tactic that the other side is using. It's not really organic, so it's not worth buying it. It's a fear tactic. It is way better. Everything that we have tested, it's at least 26 times lower in the pesticides than their conventional, at least. If it's detected at all, it's a minute amount. It is the best that we've got right now, except for growing your own. So absolutely, we condone organic. And if you can get organic and non-GMO Project Verified together, that's good because you know that they've tested for GMOs. But non-GMO Project Verified by itself is not recommended because that does not mean no pesticides. It just means no GMOs. It can be non-GMO Project Verified wheat crackers, and the wheat has been sprayed, which got 1,000 parts per billion of glyphosate on it. Right. So non-GMO Project Verified is not the only brand that we recommend on it. For us, it has to be organic.
Now, do you guys know about Aldi's? The store, Aldi's?
Yes, we do, and I have yet to see that they have gone 100% organic. I know that Natural Grocers, all the produce in Natural Grocers is organic, and I'm waiting to see Aldi's do better. But it does take time. But you just go. Every mom that goes in that says I want organic cheese or I want organic apples or I want to get whatever. Every mom that goes in there and speaks up does make a difference, and they are shifting. Yeah, and Amazon, buying Whole Foods and lowering the prices, that just shows that they know that that there's a big demand for it and that we'll respond. Yeah.
Zen?
Yes.
Oh, I'm trying a new microphone. You couldn't hear me before. This is Eric in Seattle. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for allowing a non-mom.
Oh, no problem. Hi, Eric.
Hi.
Can I? Moms.
Oh, yes, indeed. I just want to let you guys know I'm doing kind of some circling the wagons, looking at what it would take to create an initiative for Washington State to have a species and toxin moratorium on the product and on the, like France and Italy. So I'm just collecting ideas, information, resource, and kind of stunned by everyone's acumen here. There's a lot of brain power on the call, so thank you for everything you guys brought. I also, just the other day, had a purse fight with the chief technology officer of Monsanto on LinkedIn. And I wasn't going to let him off the hook because he started spouting that fuzzy, brainless BS about farming technology good, blah, blah, blah. So I got into it and called him out about words like, novel lipopolysaccharide endotoxins and things like that. So just want you to know that you guys are inspiring, and I'll keep up the good work. And there's a great book that's really horrifying, really scary, called, is it Seeds of Deception?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't, so there's some beginners on this call, and there are some PhDs. So to the beginners, if you're able to hunker down and be morally centered about what things have happened behind closed doors for a long time, and it's there's like Zen said at the beginning, without trying to parse out, is this a Fourth Reich thing? Is this a pure greed and human evil? Is this arrogance? People that just don't want to look past their own balance sheets at the impact they're having on the globe and our health. It's a wonderful book, but it's kind of terrifying because it lays it all out. And that's it. I really appreciate you letting me participate and be here. And I'm going to be attending a local chapter activity in, I think, end of October here in Seattle, and we're going to start talking about getting an initiative group formed. So thanks,
Great.
everyone.
So Eric, please post that meeting and on our website so that we can direct them to that when they come to our website. Okay?
It's how I found you. I went to Moms because I went to IRT.
Yep.
And I found Moms, and I've seen several folks in the Moms organization in different presentations and documentaries. So I found her through that, and then what I'm trying to do is leverage, let your organization be, the front of it, and have this initiative, if we do it, or a ballot or whatever, will be an output, and I'll try and help drive that and support that and get more people involved for her. So. Thanks
Great.
again. You guys are angels. I love you.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. And we have a lot of very active moms in Seattle area. And if you're not connected with like Lori and Nanette and Ellie and Amber and Nikki Norberg, there's a lot of very active people. So if you're not connected with them, just email me at info@momsacrossamerica.org. We'll get you connected. But because if you post that as an event, they should see it, should come up in their their circles, and people will start rallying for that. And then also, if you do put forth for a moratorium or a ban on glyphosate, is that what you're talking about? About
a combination, yes, removing the species, because we have one zone. It's Orcas Island, and it's got a GMO moratorium. And so I need to find out, since they are a Washington zone, that's the best place to start, is really find out what it took to get to that point and how is it at risk, and then go to the broader group. Okay. But I don't want to run in parallel to them. I want to be like a root at the base of the tree. So
okay, so you're talking about the GMOs, not the glyphosate, then?
I'm talking about both.
Oh, okay. So if you do glyphosate, be in touch with the people in Connecticut, because they've also proposed a bill to ban glyphosate in Connecticut, and the California Guild here in California is working on also a ban of glyphosate. So enough states put that forward, then it's going to get some attention, and I think that's a great idea.
Sure, and I can do it. So thank you for letting me take your time, everyone, and I will send you an email, Zen, and we'll get into some additional details offline.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being on tonight, for going over a little bit. It's always so awesome to see you all. And just know that we are making huge strides. Amazing things are happening. Share the videos and information with your friends and family. And I really challenge you to reach out this week and go beyond your normal circles and share with love. And you might not know about this. Here's what I just found out. Just be very gracious and friendly about it, and non-threatening, and you're going to change lives.
And watch communities rising.
Yes, and share it. That'd be great. Ask your church to share it. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you very much. And you can stop recording. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.